Yo guys, what's up? Matt from Upsilon Mining. Here I am coming back at you with another video regarding a 3080 Founders Edition, which I was having tremendous amounts of thermal issues with. So what I did was I've replaced the thermal pads on the thing multiple times using the thicknesses of the pads I believe were correct. And it just kept having heating problems. The memory junction temperature was fine, and the core temperature was a bit high. And I'm not sure if there was a core temperature or a memory junction or a combination of both, which was causing the card to throttle massively. But basically, what I decided to do, I decided to go over to coolmygpu.com, not affiliated, and pick up a copper plate for this GPU. So let's take a look here at the GPU. So the product for this GPU. So go to products here. We're going to check out the 3080 Founders Edition. Where is it? There we go. So I picked up this copper plate, and I got it without the thermal paste. So it was like $59 US when it was shipped, just under $100 Canadian, which I must admit is a bit much, but I'll get into it in a second. So it came on this aluminum back plate. I'm not sure what this plate is specifically for. I didn't install this, but it turns out I didn't really need to because I'm about to show you in a second. Hey guys, Matt from Upsilon Mining coming at you with another video. So I got the 3080 Founders Edition pulled apart. What I'm doing now is I've applied the thermal paste underneath the copper plate, which was I pressed down onto the memory chip. So I just applied the thermal paste, thin layer, spread it out using the spreader, and then now I'm going to I've added some more thermal paste here to these points here, which connect basically the the copper plate to the rest of the heatsink back here. This whole heatsink is connected through these the heat's conducted through these pads here. So I've placed the thermal paste there. I'm going to probably replace these thermal pads as well. This is 1.5 millimeter pads, and then I'm going to get it all put back together, and we'll take a look and see at how well this performs. Okay, so now that I got the PCB back onto the heatsink and fan assembly, I'm going to need to, when I pulled this off, it ripped off some of the thermal pads. I have to scrape that off and reapply 2 millimeter thermal pads to this, which I have here. I have 1.5 and 2 millimeters. So I'm going to put 2 millimeters on the back plate, replacing some of those pads, maybe not all of them, but some of them that are just kind of giving issues and that are kind of all torn up. And then I'll get it all put back together. The other thing is this this ribbon here, if you can see it. These ribbons need to be bent down and pushed into these contacts here. It's a pain in the ass, literally. This one too. This one needs to be, see, just kind of like brought out of here and put into. This ribbon cables need to be very carefully pressed back into here. And this one also up here needs to be pressed. These are very fragile. This is why I hate the the Founders Editions. This one specifically. I'm not sure if the other ones are also like this, but the 3080 Founders Edition, these ribbon cables are just ridiculous. Like if you rip one of these, good luck. Like if you tear one of these, good luck. They're too fragile, and just the pieces are too involved. You require like 3 different types of hex bits to open it, because the screws that hold the top plate on are different than the screws that hold the side plate on, which are different than the screws that are over here. Everything's just such a pain. So I'm hoping this copper plate will really fix these heating issues. But I'm gonna get this all put back on, get back together, and then we'll get it onto a rig, and then we'll see what it is before in HiveOS. Okay guys, so the results are actually in, and this has been up for over a day now. and I've never seen such amazing temperatures. Oh man, and I'm going to go into a little bit of why these temperatures are the way they are. So basically what we have is a core temperature of 56 degrees Celsius and an 80-degree temperature on the VRAM, so not even close to thermal throttling temperature, not even close to 100 at all, not even close to 110, which is the throttling temperature. The temperature in the air, the ambient air, is 23 degrees in here right now. But this is amazing. This card was throttling really bad, guys. You just go watch one of my previous videos on this. I was down to like 40 mega hash, 30 mega hash, 20 mega hash when it got really hot and warm, just because the card was, I'm not sure if the GPU wasn't making proper contact with the heat sink because I used pads that were too thick before, or who knows what it was. But now with this new copper plate in, boy, there's a difference. We're hitting 100.73 mega hash in nice hash for this rig, because I have it in basically my test rig, which I use for other things on Windows. So I just whatever, I just decided to throw it in here. And we're at 224 watts. We're 56 at the core and 80 at the VRAM, pulling 100.73 mega hash on Ethereum. Really awesome. Okay, so let me just talk about why this is and what's going on here. Okay, so what we've done here is we've essentially gone and replaced thermal pads here, which have a thermal conductivity of 12.8 watts per meter Kelvin. So what is okay, so let's explain this. What is a watts per meter Kelvin? It is known as K value, the comparison of thermal conductivity that can be measured by the K value. The K value, or thermal conductivity, specifies the rate of heat transfer in any homogeneous material. If a material has a K value of 1, it means 1 meter cube of material will transfer a heat at a rate of 1 watt per every degree of temperature difference between the opposite faces. Okay, so in layman's terms, it just basically means the higher this number, the more heat it can transfer from the surface, I guess, surface of a material from one to another, right, basically. So taking a look at these thermal pads, which are on a lot of GPUs, we're looking at a 12.8 watts per meter Kelvin thermal conductivity. Okay, 12.8. Now let's go on over to this material science chart here from engineeringtoolbox.com, and let's compare a couple things. So aluminum, we're looking at a thermal conductivity of 237 watts per meter Kelvin. That's so much higher than the thermal pads. And if we go down, even a lot of other metals are even higher as well. Take a look at this. Different types of alloys of aluminum, we're looking at 190 to 37. Beryllium has a 301, probably cost prohibitive, and who knows, like, if that'll work. Bismuth, boron, I mean, there's cadmium has 99, chromium. So there's all kinds of different elements here which have different levels of thermal conductivity. But if we go right down here, look at the copper, we have a thermal conductivity of 413, which is why, guys, why a lot of thermal I guess a lot of heat sinks and a lot of devices meant to conduct heat away from devices to dissipate heat are actually made out of copper, and copper is one of the best elements for heat conductivity. So by switching this over to a copper plate, man, what a huge difference! And it's pretty clear that it's because of the type of material and the fact that, you know, we also have the thermal paste between the front and the back. So any place the copper makes contact with a microchip or a heat sink surface, so like a metal surface where you're supposed to conduct a heat through, you also put the thermal paste on, which has its own, obviously, thermal conductivity qualities, but most of the modern thermal paste are of decent quality anyways. So the more heat we can conduct through the material faster, the better it is. So therefore, replacing these pads, which are basically weak sauce, essentially 12.8 watts per meter Kelvin, with material like copper makes 100% sense. And I don't know why manufacturers are not actually just doing this from factory. Maybe the cost is prohibitive. It probably is a little bit more costly, but I think people would pay for that, especially if they advertise that, hey, these are copper cooled memory chips, man, because like then gamers and miners, whoever's using these cards, will be able to play at max settings and not have to worry about their cards overheating or having to worry about like blowing fans on them and things like that. Going back quickly to the coolmygpu.com site. So I paid $59 US for this one copper plate. I guess if you can machine these to the exact thickness and make them exactly the same, you could probably buy copper sheet off of somewhere and just cut out the pieces. They cut out a piece here, and just use a thermal paste to press it down, because most of these these copper plates will just stick essentially to the memory chips using just thermal paste, almost like a sort of temporary glue. So you can like just push the pieces on and lift the PCB over top of the heatsink and just press it down. The main thing is you got to make sure the tolerances are right, which is probably why the cost is the way it is. Just also the price of material. I'm not sure what the price of copper is right now. It's probably not super cheap. So I mean, I'm hoping that a lot of this is kind of factored into the cost here that they're charging. But I mean, it's not a bad deal. I was actually starting to look at also for my 3090s. So let me see. So my 3090s here and 3080s actually. The Dell. So what we have here for the Dell ones, looks like they have 4-packs going on for $99.99, and these are made out of aluminum. Okay, so now if you look back at the material science sheet that we had before, we could see. Oh, that's my delivery. That's some server cases I got coming. I'll do a video on that too. But if we go back to our if we can find the metals. Okay, so aluminum comes in at 237 watts per meter Kelvin on the thermal conductivity K value here. So that's pretty good as well. So that gives us probably that's much higher than the 12.8, right, on the pad. So I mean, I'm looking at buying these cooling plates for all of my 3080s, 3090s. I got these 2 rigs, as you guys know, which are just kind of like beasts right now, and they thermal throttle even with the temperatures rises just a little bit. So I might buy 3 packs of these, so that's like, well, $300. But I'll be able to basically fix hopefully most of the thermal issues on the memory on those cards as well. Now the funny thing about it is like all the wasted money on thermal pads. Like, geez, man, like all the money I wasted on like these thermal pads are not cheap. Like, holy smokes, like thermal pads to buy them, because you have to buy the different size for the front and back. Like, mind you, I would have to buy the backplate ones anyways. But let's take a look here at these thermal pads. Like $20, right? So like, I mean, it's not as expensive as the. Well, I mean, let's take a look here. Actually, $99.99 for 4, so that's $25 each. So this is kind of like doing the front. You might still need some pads for the side, because there's chips on the side as well, or capacitors on the side that need to be cooled as well. But the memory chips are the #1 thing. So you could probably get by with like literally a fraction of the amount of thermal pads. But literally, I'd have to buy like say 1.5 on the inside, for example. You're looking at least like $20 for each GPU. So that's $20 Canadian. So I mean, it's marginally less than these, but these are just going to be forever good. And then thermal pads, I think they would probably need to be replaced after maybe a year or 6 months or something, depending on how much heat is being used on them. And this metal plate can just be like, all you would need to do is pull the card apart, take the metal plate off, and just clean all the paste off and reapply new paste, maybe like once a year or every 2 years or whatever, and just put the plate back down. It's like the metal degrades in there. It's aluminum, right, or copper. So I mean, like, man, like, this is awesome. I mean, I could fully recommend like, based off my experience with the Founders Edition, that it was a really good purchase. So guys, I mean, like, go to coolmygpu.com. The only problem I had with them is basically the communication wasn't that great on their email. Not overly friendly, but I mean, they did come through and deliver it. I ordered the plate on the 24th of April, and I received shipment confirmation probably around, I think it was like the 10th or something of May. So it took like a good 2.5, 3 weeks almost just to get it shipped out. I think it just could be, there could be multiple reasons for that. Maybe they're just overloaded with orders right now, which is understandable. But they really need to scale up. They need to hire more people, and they really need to up their operations to meet demand, right? And to get these things in stock and shipped out within, I'd say, 48 to 72 hours. I mean, if I'm buying this for these prices, I ideally would want to receive it within, depending on your location, of course, within a week or a week and a half at the most, right? Now, waiting a month is a little bit too much, I think. So if you guys are watching, yeah, I mean, just I think really get your operations up, scale up to meet demand, hire if you need to, if you're making a lot of money from this, just to meet those delivery expectations, right? So anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Great results here. I fully recommend using these copper plates. They're a bit pricey, but in the end, you don't got to keep buying thermal pads over and over again. Like I said, you just need to buy the paste. If you buy, say you got to replace thermal pads once a year, you're paying 20 bucks, 20 bucks. But a couple of years goes by of mining, all of a sudden you've already overspent what you would have spent on just one plate. So I mean, think long term. Other than that, manufacturers need to really start incorporating these copper plates, layers between the memory chips and their heat sinks. So anyways, guys, if you like this video, please smash the like button. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'd love it when you guys subscribe and comment. And click on the notification bell. Click the notification bell. Make sure you get notified when I release new videos. All right, guys, I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.